Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Tuesday class with some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. ओम सहनावतु सहना भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति. Let's open our Mahabharata books. This is a book number 2 and towards the end of it, and we are on page number 661, and title of this chapter is The Final Journey. They revive Arjun with scented water, haltingly, often breaking down. He tells his brothers everything that had happened. He tells them about the carnage at Prabhas, how Satyaki, Balram, and Krishna had died, and how he had lit Krishna's fire. He tells them about the women and the bandits, and finally Yudhishthir whispers, it is Gandhari's curse come true in every detail. Arjun tells them how he had dreamt of Krishna and the strange things his cousin said to him in the dream. The Pandavas are too shocked to even cry. It is as if their own lives died within them when they heard Krishna was dead. Yudhishthir, Bhim, and the twins have already made plans while Arjun was away. Yudhishthir says, there is no reason for us to live any longer. We always belong to Krishna. We learned how deeply during the war. We have decided we will crown Parikshit king in Hastinapur and leave this world. Arjun murmurs, I agree. Finally, time is the only victor. Arrangements have already been made. Within days, Parikshit is crowned king of the Kurus in the palace in Hastinapur. Yuyutsu is to be the new king's guardian and advisor. And Acharya Krip, old as he is, will remain with his Shishya, at least until the prince grows accustomed to the kingship. The Pandavas are ready to set out on their final journey, from which they will not return. On the momentous day, Yudhishthir and his brothers appear on the palace steps, wearing tree bark and deer skin. Draupadi is with them, and she has put away her silks and jewelry. She is also clad in vulcal and soft animal hide. The people fill the streets in sorrow at the news, and a cry goes up when the Pandavas emerge. But when the crowd sees the luster upon Pandu's sons and their queen, it falls silent. Powerful grace enfolds the brothers and their Panchali. The people part in a wave to let them through, blessing them, asking them to be loyal to Parikshit. The Pandavas and Draupadi walk away from the city of their fathers for the last time. As they leave the city gates, an unusual companion attaches himself to them. A little brown dog appears out of nowhere and follows at Yudhishthir's heels, making them a party of 7. When they talk to him, wondering to whom he belongs, he turns soulful eyes up at them and wags his tail. Draupadi says, oh, he is so friendly. Let him come with us if he wants. They travel south first and arrive at the place where just a few days ago magical Dwarka thrust its crystal towers at the sky from the waves. Now a calm sea stretches away to the horizon on every side, and no trace remains of the marine city. But subtle visions reach out to the sons of Pandu from the jade and plumbless depths. Memories inundate them, particularly memories of a dark face and its inscrutable, always smiling black eyes. They hear his voice woven into the surf and the morning wind, which cries out his name endlessly. As they stand there, a blazing Dev appears before them. Agni says to Arjuna, You have no need any more of the Gandiv and the quivers I gave you. Give them back to the Lord of the ocean. Agni vanishes as abruptly as he came, full of grief, for he is parting from friends with whom he had passed through the valley of death. Arjun sets his weapons down on the white sand, his hands folded. He walks solemnly around them in pradakshina. He strokes them with his fingers, kisses them, and casts his bow and quivers out into the smoky sea. There is a flash of light when they strike the waves, then they are gone. Varun receives them again as Arjun stands forlorn, the wind blowing tears from his eyes. It is told Varun comes to them in an illustrious form and takes the sons of Pandu below his waves to the city of Dwarka on his ocean bed. Vivid schools of fish now swim in her streets, where she waits for the ages to turn slowly round and for the dark one to be born into the world again. So she can rise once more to be his home on earth. After they pay homage to Krishna's palace, Varun brings them ashore, and now they turn north. With the brown dog always at their heels, Draupadi and her husbands cross the plains of Bharatvarsh and arrive at the Himalaya. They mean literally to climb into heaven, climbing for months on feet, light air as air, their punya, their strength. They arrive on the white slopes of majestic Meru mountain at the heart of the earth, from which the continents unfold like petals from a chalice. With fervent prayers, they climb higher and higher through breathless passes along paths hardly as wide as their feet, and the mountain falling sheerly away below them. Clinging to smooth rock faces, they climb on, and Panchali between them. Suddenly, Draupadi slips, and before any of her husbands can catch her, she falls off the slender trail they are on, plunges to her death thousands of feet below. The cries of the others echo off glacial gorges. Bhim turns to Yudhishthir in anguish. My lord, she was sinless all her life. Why has she died like this? Yudhishthir appears unmoved, calmly. He says, though we were all her husbands in her heart, she always loved Arjun more than any of us. Except for that, she was pure, which is why she could climb this far. This was her only sin, but it took her down. They climb on, and then Sahadev loses his footing and falls to his death. Again, Bhim and Yudhishthir, why? Bhim asks Yudhishthir why he fell when he was always so selfless. Yudhishthir says grimly, he was proud of his intelligence. That was his sin. On they climb, and a blizzard howls across the icy precipices. It blows Nakul away. Yudhishthir says, he thought he was the most handsome man on earth, and so he died. After a while, Arjun lies down on the very path and breathes no more. Bhim cries, Arjun never told a lie, not even in jest. How has he died? He boasted that he would kill all his enemies in a day, but did not keep his word. He was proud of his archery, and his pride killed him. Just they two climb on. Then Bhim feels his head spin viciously. He cries, what have I done, my brother? Yudhishthir answers, you ate too much and you bragged about your strength, my Bhim. That will cost you your life. Bhim falls to his death. Now it is only Yudhishthir and the sure-footed, cheerful brown dog who climb on. Yudhishthir walks blindly, for he can hardly see anything around him anymore. This is no longer the mountain of the earth. He is sure he has climbed into heaven. He comes into a place full of unearthly brightness. He sees a supernal chariot fly down before him. A radiant Dev rides in that Viman. Indra says, Yudhishthir, I have come to take you to Swarg. My lord, my brothers and my wife have fallen by the way. I do not want to go to Swarg without them. They have abandoned their mortal bodies and are already in heaven. But you, O king of Dharam, shall enter the realm of the immortals in your human body. Yudhishthir says, if you assure me, I will meet them there. I will go with you. He pauses shyly then. But this dog has followed me all the way from Hastinapur. I beg you, let me bring him with me. Indra, Lord of Light, laughs. Do you know what you are saying, Panda? You are being offered immortality. You will be equal to the gods, and you want to bring a dog with you? You are the most fortunate man that ever lived in the world. Don't ruin your fortune with this foolishness. There is no place in Swarg for a dog. Leave the beast and come with me. Come, Yudhishthir. No blame will attach to you. The dog has shared my journey. He shared my grief. He loves me and is loyal to me. I cannot abandon him now. Indra says angrily, you are still full of attachment. You have arrived at heaven's threshold and you are being stubborn. Leave the dog. I cannot have him in my viman. Yudhishthir says, all my punya will perish if I abandon this dog now. He is dependent on me. I cannot leave him. It would be a worse sin than killing a Brahman. You left your brothers and your queen. Does the dog mean more to you than they did? My brothers and my wife were dead when I left them. I could do nothing for them anymore. The dog is alive and he is helpless. I cannot abandon him. I will not come to Swarg unless he comes with me. There is a strange smile on Indra's face now as he gazes past Yudhishthir. The Pandav turns his head and cries out. The furry brown dog has vanished. Yudhishthir's father, Dharamdev, stands in its place. The astonished Pandav folds his hands to his sire. My lord, he breathes. Dharam says, there's no other king like you on earth or in heaven, my son, none as compassionate. I tried you once in a Dvaitwan, and you asked for Nakul's life to be restored. Now I have tested you again, and you have earned heaven for yourself with your mercy. Numberless presences have gathered above that mountain. Great spirits come to see the first mortal man who ever gained Devlok in his human body. Yudhishthir climbs into Indra's viman and they flash away from the world quickly as light. The sky parts like a blue sea and they break through its veil to the realms on the other side. Wonder everywhere, light everywhere, grandeur and beauty past describing. Indra says, look, Yudhishthir, every star you saw from the earth is a separate mandal of the Devas. At the heart of ineffable legend, they arrive in fabled Amravati, the deathless city. The Lord of the Devas brings Yudhishthir into the Sudharam, his incomparable Sabha. The great kings of the ages all have thrones in that court. Indra says, your ancestors are all here, Yudhishthir, kings who made time fragrant with their dharam. You are one of them now. Your fame is eternal. Yudhishthir looks around him. I don't see my brothers here, my lord. I don't see my queen. I beg you, take me to them. I have no use for all this glory if Panchali and my brothers are not with me. Indra says, stay here with us. You have earned your place in heaven with your dharam. This is not the earth anymore. You must leave your worldly attachments behind. Forget about your wife and your brothers. That life is past. They cannot hope to gain these heights. Yudhishthir, every man is given only what he deserves. You will be happy with us here. Forget the past. Yudhishthir hardly hears him. His eyes seek his brothers everywhere in the Sabha. He does not see them. And the Pandav says, I realize what an honor you bestow on me, but I cannot stay here. Without my Bhim, my Arjun, my Nakul, my Sahdev, and my dark Panchali, where are my sons, Lord, whom Ashwatthama killed? I beg you, take me to those whom I love. Then Yudhishthir grows very still, seated before him on a lofty throne with a smile on his face. He sees Duryodhana. Now the last chapter in this book, the law of heaven. Among kings of yore who enrich the earth with their noble lives, Duryodhana sits in Indra's Sabha on a jeweled throne. The Kaurav is as majestic as any of the other Kshatriyas. Yudhishthir cannot contain himself. How is Duryodhana here in your court of Dharam? He caused the deaths of millions. He destroyed Kshatriya kind with his greed. This man had Draupadi dragged into the Kuru Sabha by her hair, tried to strip her naked. There is no sinner like him in heaven or earth. I cannot bear to be in the same place as him, not for a moment. Narad is in the Sudharam and he says to Yudhishthir, don't say that. This is Swarg. Before you enter here, you must forget your old enmities. Listen to me, Pandav. All these kings of men love your cousin. He died like a Kshatriya, offering his body as libation in the fire of war, and they love him for that. He died bravely in agony, and his death purified him. Moreover, he was a just king when he ruled. He was fearless and generous. Pandav, the laws of heaven differ from the laws of the earth. Don't judge Duryodhan anymore. He was forgiven everything when he died, and he died in a most holy place. Balram said he would find Devlok, and his mother Gandhari was a Bhagat. You must leave your anger behind you, Yudhishthir. There is no place for enmity here. Yudhishthir stands trembling. I know nothing of the laws of Devlok, but I wonder why I don't see my brothers here. If Duryodhan deserves to be here, what about them? They were all great men who never strayed from the path of truth. Where are they now? Where is my noblest brother Karan? Where are Satyaki and Drishtyuman? Where are all the Kshatriyas who laid down their lives for me? Where is my child Abhimanyu? Where is Krishan? Where is my mother Kunti? Where are Shikhandi, Virat, and Drupad? Where is my queen Draupadi? I beg you, my lords, take me to my brothers. I want to live in the place where they are. Wherever it is, I don't understand the dharma of heaven. I want to be with my brothers. Yudhishthir's voice has risen in despair. Indra sighs, very well then, let Yudhishthir be taken to where his brothers are. The king of the Devas summons an attendant, and Yudhishthir follows that bright servitor out of the Sudharam. They hardly walk a short way when suddenly they tread a sinister trail. This path snakes on interminably, and Indra's servant walks briskly along it. A glowing blackness engulfs them. The air is still, breathless. A fetid smell hangs heavily. On both sides, they hear groans and screams of souls in torment. In the gloom, Yudhishthir dimly sees the monstrous forms of demons. Some entwine horribly, others are dismembered or headless, and some have mouths like needles. Corpses are strewn everywhere, hideously disemboweled, entrails hanging out, smeared with fat and blood, their stink intolerable. 1,000 human hands reach out to them in agony. Everywhere they hear sobbing and the gnashing of teeth. Weird howls ring out now and again, and at times serpents slither across the narrow path. Sulphurous pools bubble beside the eerie trail, and there are living creatures in them, burning slowly, never dying, suffering endlessly with every step they take. The sights, smells, and sounds grow worse, and the heat becomes unbearable. Soon Yudhishthir cries, this is an infernal place. Which god rules this part of Devlok? Where are my brothers? Indra's servant replies, this path leads to your brothers, but we will turn back if you cannot bear it. The stench is intolerable. Yudhishthir gags. The sights around them are so vile he cannot look at them, and he wants to shut his ears for the dreadful sounds that fill the darkness. The heat begins to scald the skin from the arms and face. Steadfast as he is, the Pandav cannot go any further into that hell. He stops and says, friend, I cannot stand this place anymore. Let us turn back. How far did Lord Indra tell you to bring me? The man smiles, only as far as you could go. Then many voices wail dismally out of the darkness. Yudhishthir, don't leave us. Don't go, Yudhishthir. Take pity on us. Stay a while. Your presence soothes us like a soft breeze of heaven. Don't leave. Just a few moments. Stay a few moments more. Yudhishthir's hair stands on end. The voices are familiar. He cries, who calls out to me? Why are you in this Narad? Altogether, the voices reply, I am Karan, I am Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, Sadev. This is I, Draupadi. I am Drishduman. I am Satyaki. All the others he loved, who had fought and died for him, call out to him. Yudhishthir cries, my sinless brothers, my Panchali and my friends are all in hell, while Duryodhan sits on a crystal throne in the Sudharam. Am I dreaming? Surely this is a nightmare from which I will awaken. Again, the piteous voices call out, begging him to stay with them just a little longer. Ah, his presence soothes their torment, tears in his eyes. Yudhishthir turns to the divine servitor who brought him here. Friend, go back to Indra and tell him I will remain with my brothers. They say that my presence soothes their anguish. The man bows and leaves Yudhishthir alone. The darkness, the purulence, the heat, and the terror of that hell are all magnified when he is alone. The voices cry out more plaintively. Yudhishthir sits on the path, sweating, wondering how long he can endure it. He has been there for an hour. When there is a flash of light, then another, and more. Indra stands before Yudhishthir, the king of heaven, come with his host. In a moment, the darkness, the pestilential vapors, the scathing heat, the sulfur pits, the demons, all vanish. No more groans and screams bruise the air. Instead, it is sweet and pure, and that place is full of light and living silence. A fragrant breeze blows. Looking at Yudhishthir's face, he stands blinking in the soft limbency of Devlok. Indra says to him, now you have earned Swarg for yourself. The law of heaven is that every king must pass through hell to purify himself. You experienced Nark briefly to atone for your one sin on earth. Yudhishthir, you deceived your Guru Drona or Kurukshetra. It was your lie that made him put down his weapons. And then Drishdyuman killed him. You have paid for that sin now. Forget what you saw. It was an illusion. Come with us. Yudhishthir stands, hands folded before the effulgent guards. He murmurs, my brothers, your brothers are already in Swarg. With them are all the kings who fought for you. They too served a brief time in hell for their sins and were purified. You say you do not understand the law of Devlok. Let me tell you what it is. If a man's sins overweigh his punya, then he comes straight into the heaven when he dies. When his punya is exhausted, he sinks into hell to suffer for his sins. But if a soul's virtue exceeds his sins, then he pays first for his crimes and then comes into Swarga forever. Your brothers are not here, Yudhishthir. Come with me. I will show you where they are. Yudhishthir's father, the Lord Dharam, appears before him again, blessing his son. He says, this was the third trial, the last one. Nothing could induce you to leave the path of truth. Nothing could quell your love for your brothers. Come to those whom you love so much. The Devas bring Yudhishthir to the banks of the Ganga, flowing through heaven in her celestial form. The Pandav bathes in her waters of light and she takes his mortal body from him. Like a worn set of clothes, he rises in glory, a king of Devlok. With Indra and the others, Yudhishthir comes back to Amravati, to its incomparable Sabha. First of all, he sees Krishna on the loftiest throne, with Arjun beside him and all the Yadavs around them. They rise to receive Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir sees his brother Karan sitting among the 12 Adityas, all sons of Surya. He sees his brother Bhim. His body is swirling air. He sits amidst the Maruts, who are Vayu's magnificent people. Nakul and Sahadev are with their fathers, the brilliant Ashwin twins. Then sweeping the Sabha, Yudhishthir's gaze finds Draupadi. She wears a garland of undying lotuses, and she is a great flame in that gold. All her sons surround her. Her brother Drishdyuman sits not far from her with rutilant Agni, the fire god, their father. Yudhishthir sees Abhimanyu seated beside the glowing moon, luminous Somdev. The Pandav sees Bhishma among the Vasus and Drona at Brihaspati's side. He sees his uncle Vidur, now a lord of heaven beside Dharamdev, In joy, he sees his father Pandu and Kunti and Madhuri. His brothers rise and come to welcome Yudhishthir. Karan also rises, and with them comes another familiar figure, his body lucent, kindness and grace in his eyes, and his face wreathed in a smile. It is Duryodhan, who is also a king of Devlok. Now Yudhishthir feels no twinge of resentment and embraces his cousin just as he does his brothers. Indra, lord of the Devas, presents Yudhishthir, the Pandav, in his Sabha in Devlok. Yudhishthir, who is Dharam's son and the very soul of truth. So this was the last chapter. Now, on the next page, there's a Phalasruti. Dark Krishna was the eighth avatar of the Lord Vishnu, who lies upon eternal waters. He was born into the world to cleanse it of the tide of evil that darkened the age. He came to establish Dharam on earth again. The Devas Indra, Vayu, Dharam, and the Ashwins were also born into the world in Ansh as the sons of Pandu to fight at Krishna's side. The earth was purified because these gods walked upon her, and at the war on the cusp of the ages, the seed of Dharam was sown in holy ground, made fertile by the blood of the Kshatriya. Once their life's purpose was accomplished, the Pandavas left the world and were absorbed again into their fathers in heaven, the lords of light. Most of all, the earth was enriched forever that Blue Krishna walked upon her for a brief human life. The legend of the Pandavas, the Mahabharata, the tale of the war on the crack of two yugs, is an immortal story. As long as the earth lives, as long as the sun and moon light the sky, and there is even a spark of goodness in men's hearts, this legend of the sons of Pandu will be told in the world. It is a sacred epic, a tale of truth, and whoever reads or hears it will have his sins washed from him and his heart made pure. He will finally come to the blessed realm of Mahavishnu, who lies on the serpent, Anant Shesh, upon the Kshir Sagar, ocean of eternity and of bliss. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Thank you very much. Let's do the Shanti prayer also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.